Imagine you're walking down a crowded street surrounded by countless faces, each one absorbed in their own world. You might catch a fleeting glance or a brief moment of eye contact, but in the grand scheme of things, it seems like nobody really cares about you. It's a harsh reality, but it's one that we all must face. However, what if I told you that this realization could be the key to unlocking your true potential and living a life of purpose and fulfillment? Speech, you see, when we come to understand that nobody cares about us, it can be a liberating experience. It means that we are free from the expectations and judgments of others. We no longer have to live our lives trying to please everyone around us or seeking validation from external sources. Instead, we can focus on what truly matters, our own goals, dreams, and aspirations. I've learned this lesson through my own journey of self-discovery and personal growth. There was a time when I was consumed by the opinions of others, constantly seeking their approval and trying to fit into their mold. I would make decisions based on what I thought would impress those around me, rather than what truly resonated with my own values and desires. It was an exhausting way to live, and it left me feeling unfulfilled and disconnected from my authentic self. But then a profound realization hit me. Nobody cares about me as much as I care about myself. It sounds simple, but it was a game changer. I realized that I had been giving away my power and allowing others to dictate the course of my life. I had been waiting for someone else to give me permission to pursue my dreams and live the life I wanted. But the truth is, that permission had to come from within. Once I embraced this truth, everything began to shift. I started making decisions based on what felt right for me, rather than what I thought would please others. I pursued my passions with a renewed sense of purpose and determination. I stopped comparing myself to others and started embracing my own unique qualities and strengths. And you know what? As I began to care more about myself and my own journey, I noticed that others started to take notice as well. It's a paradox, really. When we stop seeking validation and approval from others, we become more magnetic and attractive. We exude a sense of confidence and self-assurance that draws people in. We become the creators of our own reality, rather than the passive recipients of someone else's expectations. Now, I know what you might be thinking, but what about the people who do care about me? My family, my friends, my loved ones, and you're right. There are certainly people in our lives who care deeply about us and want the best for us. But here's the thing, even their love and support can't fill the void that exists within ourselves. We have to learn to love and care for ourselves first and foremost. Think about it this way: when you're on an airplane, the safety instructions always tell you to put on your own oxygen mask before helping others. Why? Because if you're not taking care of yourself, you won't be in a position to help anyone else. The same principle applies to life. If we don't prioritize our own well-being and happiness, we won't be able to show up fully for the people we care about. So how do we start caring more about ourselves? It begins with self-awareness and self-reflection. We need to take the time to get to know ourselves on a deep level. What are our values? What brings us joy? What are our strengths and weaknesses? What do we want to achieve in this lifetime? These are the questions we must ask ourselves if we want to live a life that is authentic and fulfilling. It also means setting boundaries and learning to say no when something doesn't align with our values or goals. It means prioritizing our own needs and desires, even if it means disappointing others at times. It means taking responsibility for our own happiness and not relying on external factors to bring us joy. Now, I want to be clear, caring about yourself doesn't mean being selfish or dismissive of others. In fact, it's quite the opposite. When we learn to love and value ourselves, we become better equipped to love and value others. We show up in our relationships from a place of wholeness and abundance rather than a place of neediness and desperation. Think about the people in your life who seem to have it all together, the ones who radiate joy and positivity, who seem to effortlessly attract success and abundance. Chances are these individuals have learned the art of self-love and self-care. They understand that their own well-being is the foundation upon which everything else is built. So my challenge to you today is this: start caring more about yourself. Start prioritizing your own needs and desires. Start investing in your own growth and development. Start setting boundaries and saying no to the things that don't serve you. Start embracing your own unique qualities and strengths. It won't always be easy. There will be moments of doubt and discomfort. There will be times when you feel selfish or guilty for putting yourself first. But I promise you, the rewards are worth it. When you learn to love and care for yourself, you open up a world of possibilities. You become the architect of your own destiny, the creator of your own reality. And here's the beautiful thing: as you begin to care more about yourself, you'll find that others will naturally be drawn to your energy. You'll attract people who appreciate and value you for who you are, rather than for what you can do for them. You'll build relationships based on mutual respect and admiration rather than neediness and codependency. But it all starts with you. It starts with a willingness to look within and do the hard work of self-discovery and self-love. It starts with a commitment to prioritizing your own well-being and happiness, even in the face of external pressures and expectations. So I invite you to take that first step today. Start by taking a few minutes each day to check in with yourself. Ask yourself how you're feeling, what you need, and what you want. Listen to your inner voice and trust your intuition. Surround yourself with people who support and encourage your growth and development. And remember, nobody cares about you as much as you care about yourself. It's not a weakness or a flaw, it's a strength and a gift. Embrace it, cherish it, and use it to fuel your journey towards a life of purpose and fulfillment. As you embark on this journey of self-discovery and self-love, know that you are not alone. There are countless others who have walked this path before you, who have faced the same challenges and overcome the same obstacles. Draw strength and inspiration from their stories and their examples. And know that the journey is never truly over. Self-love and self-care are ongoing practices that require commitment and dedication. There will be days when you stumble and fall, when you revert back to old patterns and habits. But the beauty of this journey is that each moment presents a new opportunity to begin again, to recommit to yourself and your own well-being. So keep going, keep pushing forward, keep believing in yourself and your own inherent worth and value. Keep caring about yourself, even when it feels like nobody else does, because in the end, that's what truly matters. And as you begin to live from a place of self-love and self-care, you'll find that your life begins to transform in ways you never could have imagined. You'll attract abundance and success, not because you're chasing after it, but because you're aligned with your own true purpose and passion. You'll build relationships based on authenticity and genuine connection rather than superficiality and manipulation. You'll experience a sense of joy and fulfillment that comes from living in alignment with your own values and desires. And perhaps most importantly, you'll inspire others to do the same. As you begin to radiate self-love and self-confidence, others will take notice. They'll be drawn to your energy and your example. They'll start to question their own patterns and habits and begin to prioritize their own well-being and happiness. In this way, your journey of self-love and self-care becomes a ripple effect, spreading out into the world and impacting countless others. You become a beacon of hope and inspiration, a living example of what's possible when we learn to care about ourselves first and foremost. So let this be your call to action. Let this be your invitation to embark on a journey of self-discovery and self-love. Let this be your reminder that nobody cares about you as much as you care about yourself, and that's okay. In fact, it's more than okay, it's essential. Embrace it, cherish it, use it to fuel your journey towards a life of purpose, passion, and fulfillment. And know that as you do, you're not only transforming your own life, but the lives of countless others as well. The path ahead may not always be easy, but it's one that's worth taking. It's a path that leads to true happiness, true success, and true fulfillment. It's a path that allows you to become the best version of yourself and to make a positive impact on the world around you. So take that first step today. Start caring more about yourself. Start prioritizing your own needs and desires. Start investing in your own growth and development. And watch as your life begins to transform in ways you never could have imagined. Remember, nobody cares about you as much as you care about yourself. And that's not a weakness, it's a strength, it's a gift, it's an opportunity to become the person you were always meant to be, and to live the life you were always meant to live. Embrace it, cherish it, and use it to create a life that is truly extraordinary. As you continue on this journey of self-love and self-discovery, you may encounter obstacles and challenges along the way. There may be moments when you feel like giving up, when you question whether it's all worth it. But I promise you it is. Every step you take towards caring for yourself, every boundary you set, every decision you make that aligns with your own values and desires is a step towards a life of true happiness and fulfillment. And as you navigate these challenges, remember that you have within you all the strength and resilience you need to overcome them. You have the power to choose your own thoughts, your own beliefs, and your own actions. You have the ability to rewrite the story of your life, to create a narrative that empowers and inspires you. One of the most powerful tools you have in this journey is gratitude. When you focus on the things you're grateful for, when you appreciate the blessings in your life, no matter how small they may seem, you shift your energy and your perspective. You begin to see the world through a lens of abundance and possibility rather than scarcity and limitation. So make it a practice to cultivate gratitude each and every day. Start each morning by thinking of 3 things you're grateful for, and end each evening by reflecting on the good that happened throughout the day. Keep a gratitude journal where you can record your thoughts and feelings and look back on them whenever you need a reminder of all the blessings in your life. Another key aspect of self-love and self-care is learning to be present in the moment. So often we get caught up in worries about the future or regrets about the past, and we miss out on the beauty and the joy that's available to us right now. But when we learn to be fully present, when we engage all of our senses and allow ourselves to be immersed in the experience of the moment, we open ourselves up to a whole new level of happiness and fulfillment. So practice mindfulness and presence in your daily life. Take time each day to sit in stillness and silence, to focus on your breath and let go of any thoughts or distractions that may arise. Engage in activities that bring you fully into the present moment, whether it's savoring a delicious meal, taking a walk in nature, or losing yourself in a creative pursuit. As you cultivate presence and gratitude, you'll find that your relationship with yourself begins to deepen and transform. You'll start to see yourself through a lens of compassion and understanding rather than judgment and criticism. You'll begin to treat yourself with the same kindness and care that you would extend to a beloved friend or family member. And as you do this, you'll find that your relationship with others begins to transform as well. When you show up in the world from a place of self-love and self-care, you naturally attract people who resonate with that energy. You build relationships based on authenticity, vulnerability, and mutual respect rather than neediness or codependency. But building these relationships requires a willingness to be vulnerable, to open yourself up to the possibility of connection and intimacy. It means letting go of the masks and the walls we put up to protect ourselves and allowing others to see us as we truly are. This can be a scary prospect, especially if we've been hurt or betrayed in the past. But the truth is, vulnerability is a strength, not a weakness. It's a sign of courage and resilience, a willingness to show up fully and authentically in the world. And when we do this, when we allow ourselves to be seen and heard and valued for who we truly are, we create the conditions for deep and meaningful connection. We attract people into our lives who appreciate and cherish us, who support and encourage our growth and evolution. Of course, building these relationships takes time and effort. It requires a willingness to communicate openly and honestly, to set healthy boundaries, and to work through conflicts and challenges as they arise. But the rewards of these relationships are immeasurable. They provide us with a sense of love and belonging, a feeling of being truly seen and understood. And as we cultivate these relationships, both with ourselves and with others, we begin to see the world in a new light. We recognize that we are all interconnected, that our actions and choices have a ripple effect that extends far beyond ourselves. We start to see ourselves as part of a larger web of humanity, each of us playing a unique and vital role in the tapestry of life. This recognition can be both humbling and empowering. It reminds us of our own insignificance in the grand scheme of things, but it also highlights the incredible power we have to make a difference in the world. Every choice we make, every action we take, has the potential to create positive change and impact the lives of others. So as you continue on this journey of self-love and self-discovery, remember that you are not alone. You are part of a larger community of people who are all seeking to live lives of purpose and meaning. Reach out to others, share your stories and your struggles, and offer your support and encouragement whenever you can. And as you do this, remember to also extend that same compassion and support to yourself. Be patient with yourself, and remember that growth and transformation take time. Celebrate your victories, no matter how small they may seem, and learn from your failures and setbacks. Above all, remember that you are worthy of love and care and respect simply by virtue of being alive. You don't need to earn it or prove it or chase after it. It is your birthright, your inherent nature. So keep going. Keep taking steps towards a life of self-love and self-care. Keep building relationships based on authenticity and vulnerability. Keep making choices that align with your values and your purpose. And trust that as you do, you are creating a life that is truly extraordinary. It won't always be easy, but it will always be worth it. Because in the end, the greatest gift you can give to yourself and to the world is the gift of your own wholeness and well-being. When you show up fully and authentically, when you radiate love and compassion and purpose, you inspire others to do the same. You become a beacon of hope and possibility, a living example of what's possible when we learn to care for ourselves first and foremost. So let this be your invitation to step into your own power and potential. Let this be your call to action, your reminder that you matter, that your life has meaning and purpose. Let this be your affirmation that you are worthy of love and care and respect, simply by virtue of being alive. And as you embark on this journey, know that you are supported and celebrated every step of the way. Know that your story matters, that your voice deserves to be heard. Know that you have the power to create a life that is truly extraordinary, a life that is a reflection of your deepest values and desires. It all starts with a single step, a single choice to prioritize your own well-being and happiness. So take that step today, make that choice, and trust that as you do, you are setting in motion a chain of events that will transform your life in ways you never could have imagined. Remember, nobody cares about you as much as you care about yourself. And that's not a weakness, it's a strength. It's a gift. It's an opportunity to become the person you were always meant to be and to live the life you were always meant to live. Embrace it, cherish it, and use it to create a life that is truly remarkable, a life that leaves a legacy of love and compassion and purpose. The world is waiting for you. Your story is waiting to be told. Your life is waiting to be lived. So step into your power, your potential, your purpose. And know that as you do, you are lighting the way for countless others to do the same. This is your moment. This is your time. This is your invitation to become the person you were always meant to be and to live the life you were always meant to live. Seize it, embrace it, and never let it go. Because in the end, the greatest gift you can give to yourself and to the world is the gift of your own authentic, unapologetic, radiant self. So shine your light, share your gifts, and know that you are loved, you are valued, and you are needed now more than ever. The journey ahead may be uncertain, but one thing is clear: you have within you all the strength, all the courage, all the resilience you need to navigate it with grace and with purpose. So trust yourself, trust the journey, and trust that every step you take is leading you closer to the life you were always meant to live. And as you walk this path, remember that you are not alone. You are part of a larger community of seekers and dreamers and visionaries, all working to create a world that is more compassionate, more beautiful than the one we inherited. So take your place in that community, lend your voice to the chorus of change, and know that every act of self-love, every act of self-care, every act of authenticity and vulnerability ripples out into the world and creates a positive impact that reaches far beyond yourself. This is the power of caring for yourself first and foremost. This is the power of prioritizing your own well-being and happiness. This is the power of living a life that is aligned with your deepest values and desires. And it all starts with a single choice, a single moment of courage and determination. So make that choice. Seize that moment. And know that as you do, you are setting in motion a chain of events that will transform not only your own life, but the lives of countless others as well. The world is waiting for you. Your story is waiting to be told. Your life is waiting to be lived. So step into your power, your potential, your purpose, and never look back. Because in the end, the greatest adventure, the greatest journey, the greatest story of all is the one that you get to write for yourself. So make it a good one. Make it a story that you're proud to tell, a story that inspires others to do the same. And know that as you do, you are not only changing your own life, but you are changing the world, one choice, one moment, one story at a time. So go forth with courage, with compassion, with conviction, and know that you are loved, you are valued, and you are needed now more than ever. The journey ahead may be uncertain, but one thing is clear: you have within you all the strength, all the courage, all the resilience you need to navigate it with grace and with purpose. So trust yourself, trust the journey, and trust that every step you take is leading you closer to the life you were always meant to live. And as you walk this path, remember to be kind to yourself, to be patient with yourself, to be generous with yourself. Remember that growth and transformation take time, and that setbacks and failures are simply opportunities for learning and expansion. So embrace the journey, embrace the challenges, embrace the opportunities for growth and evolution, and know that as you do, you are not only becoming the person you were always meant to be, but you are also contributing to the healing and the evolution of the world around you. This is the power of caring for yourself first and foremost. This is the power of prioritizing your own well-being and happiness. This is the power of living a life that is aligned with your deepest values and desires. And it all starts with a single choice, a single moment of courage and determination. So make that choice. Seize that moment. And know that as you do, you are setting in motion a chain of events that will transform not only your own life, but the lives of countless others as well. The world is waiting for you. Your story is waiting to be told. Your life is waiting to be lived. So step into your power, your potential, your purpose, and never look back. Imagine for a moment that you had nothing left to lose in this life. Everything that used to weigh you down, hold you back, and keep you stuck has fallen away. You're left standing with only your raw, authentic self. How would you show up differently? What would you say and do if the fear of loss and failure no longer had a grip on you? This is the power of being silent and acting as if you have nothing to lose. And today I want to take you on a journey to access this profound state of liberated action. We spend so much of our lives desperately grasping, clinging to things we're terrified to lose: relationships, jobs, status, money, the illusion of security. We live in fear that one wrong move, one mistake, and it could all come crashing down. So we stay silent, we play it safe, we don't take risks, we water ourselves down and contort ourselves to fit in, all in an attempt to protect what we have, to avoid the pain of loss. But here's the truth: everything in this temporary world is already in the process of being lost. That's the nature of the human experience of life itself. Relationships end, jobs come and go, loved ones pass on, the body ages and declines. There are no exceptions. Sooner or later, in one way or another, every worldly thing gets taken away. So the question becomes, how do you want to live in the meantime? Shackled by the fear of loss or liberated by the acceptance of it? When you make peace with the inevitable, ephemeral nature of life, a deep freedom takes root in your soul. A profound sense of fearlessness emerges. You start showing up in an entirely new way. You speak your truth boldly, even if your voice shakes, because you know that self-betrayal is the only real loss. You pursue your deepest passions, even if the path is uncertain, because you know that not even trying is the only true failure. You love with your whole heart, even if there's no guarantee, because you know that withheld love is the only real heartbreak. You start dancing like no one's watching, singing like no one's listening, living like heaven is on earth. The more you make peace with death, the more you come alive. The more you're willing to lose, the more you open yourself up to gain. Things that used to paralyze you with fear, rejection, humiliation, failure become opportunities for growth, for revealing your unshakable inner strength. I'm not saying any of this is easy. The ego, the false self, will kick and scream every step of the way. It survives on fear, on clinging to the illusion of control. To act as if you have nothing to lose is a direct threat to its very existence. But you are so much more than your ego, so much more than your fears and limiting beliefs. At your core, there is an indestructible, eternal essence, a field of pure consciousness and potentiality. When you learn to live from this place, to anchor yourself in the ground of your being, the forces of fear and loss lose their power over you. So how do you practically begin to embody this way of being? It starts with stillness, with silence, by routinely withdrawing from the noise of the world, the chatter of your mind, and reconnecting with the quiet, vast spaciousness that is your true nature. In that silence, you begin to gain distance from the false self, from the ego voice that narrates your life through the lens of fear and scarcity. You start to realize that you are the watcher of your thoughts, not the thoughts themselves. You are the wide open sky, not the passing clouds. From that expansive vantage point, you can see the truth that so much of what you thought you needed to grasp, what you thought you couldn't live without, is not the source of your deepest fulfillment. Who you are, the love that you are, the awareness that you are, that is what's essential and infinite. Everything else is icing on the cake. And paradoxically, the more you ground yourself in that unshakable essence, the more fully you can show up for the temporary dressing of this world. You can engage without attachment, give without expectation, love without fear. You can enjoy the sweetness of this fleeting dance all the more, knowing that nothing real can ever be lost. Does this mean you become passive, that you give up on creating and achieving? Quite the opposite. When you act as if you have nothing to lose, you take more risks, not less. You become more bold, more daring in the service of your deepest values. Think of the heroes throughout history who changed the world, who left an indelible mark: Martin Luther King Jr., Mahatma Gandhi, Rosa Parks, Nelson Mandela. They all reached a point where they were willing to lose everything in the pursuit of truth, of justice, where they valued adherence to their deepest conscience more than their own comfort, their own lives even. And through that total surrender, that willingness to lose it all, they gained everything. They tapped into a power beyond their little self. A power that made them resilient, unbreakable, unstoppable. A power that enabled them to endure unthinkable hardships while maintaining an inexplicable inner peace. That power is in you too. The same boundless spirit that animated the greatest movers and shakers resides in your own heart. Their secret was simply this: they got silent enough to hear it and fearless enough to follow it. So let's talk about some of the practical ways you can start to cultivate this way of being. It all comes down to practice, to reprogramming your default response to challenges and discomfort. The first key is developing a consistent practice of stillness, whether it's through meditation, solo walks in nature, moments of pause throughout the day. Find a way to routinely step back from the noise and activity and just be. In that space between thoughts, that gap between the constant doing, you'll start to taste the silent, eternal dimension of yourself. You'll begin to realize that there is a part of you that is always at peace, always free. No circumstance, no person, no worldly loss can touch it. From that place of centered alignment, you can start to take contrary action. Meaning when your ego is telling you to avoid something, to run from discomfort, you consciously choose to lean in. You start small with low-stakes challenges and work your way up. So let's say you're terrified of public speaking, of being seen and judged. You start by expressing one authentic opinion a day in a group setting. Then you work your way up to asking a question in a meeting. Then you volunteer to give a short presentation. Then you sign up for Toastmasters. Gradually, you retrain your brain to associate those experiences with growth and expansion rather than threat and contraction. Or let's say you're scared to end a relationship that you know isn't right for you. You start by having one honest, vulnerable conversation with that person about how you're feeling. You sit with the discomfort, breathe through it, knowing that you can handle whatever emotions arise. Then, if needed, you build up to following through with the breakup, anchoring yourself in your deepest truth. The more you flex this muscle of consciously moving towards what scares you, the more fearless you become, the more unshakable you feel in the face of uncertainty and loss. It's like building a spiritual immune system. Bit by bit, you transmute your reactivity into responsiveness, your contraction into expansion. Another key is practicing non-attachment, which is not indifference or avoidance. It's the art of fully engaging without clinging, without needing a particular outcome in order to feel okay. It's bringing your whole heart to something while simultaneously being willing to let it go. You can practice this with small things like savoring a meal without needing it to last forever, or giving a gift without expecting anything in return, or pouring your heart into a creative project and then releasing it to the world without being attached to how it's received. As you start to live this way more and more, you discover a profound paradox. The more you let go, the more fully you can show up. The more willing you are to lose, the more deeply you can love. You stop wasting your precious energy clinging to temporary forms and instead start flowing with the underlying essence of life. You start dancing with the great unfolding rather than resisting it. And in that surrender, in that willingness to risk it all, you gain access to a joy beyond reason, a peace that surpasses understanding. Now, I want to be clear, acting as if you have nothing to lose doesn't mean recklessly putting yourself in harm's way. It doesn't mean neglecting your basic responsibilities or disregarding your well-being. This fearlessness must be balanced with wisdom, with discernment. There is a difference between the ego's reckless thrill-seeking and the soul's brave, purposeful leaps. One comes from a place of escapism and desperation, the other from a place of centered, grounded faith. As you practice stillness and attunement, you'll start to gain clarity on that distinction. You'll develop a felt sense of when life is calling you to leap and when it's asking you to be patient, when fear is distorting your perception, and when your inner knowing is sounding the alarm. It's also important to remember that fearlessness is not a static state that you achieve once and for all. It's a moment-to-moment choice, a perpetual practice. There will still be times when you get knocked off center, when old fears and patterns grip you. The key is to have compassion with yourself in those moments, to forgive your humanness while recommitting to your highest truth. The more you return to your core, to the silence and stillness within, the more easily you can discern the voice of fear from the voice of wisdom. And the more readily you can course correct when needed, realigning with your deepest intentions. Living this way takes tremendous courage and faith. It requires a radical shift in perspective, a complete reorientation of your being. But as you start to taste the freedom on the other side of fear, as you start to experience the joy and aliveness of an undefended heart, there is no going back. Every single one of us has this capacity for awakened action, for embodied fearlessness. It doesn't matter what your past looks like, how many times you've stumbled and fallen, how much you feel like you've lost. In any moment, you can remember the truth of who you are. You can get still and reconnect with your essential wholeness. You can take one small, brave step in the direction of your deepest knowing. As you do this again and again, as you make this your living practice, your whole world will start to transform. Limitations that once seemed insurmountable will begin to dissolve. Stuck places that felt permanent will give way to newfound freedom and flow. Relationships that were fraught with fear and guardedness will blossom into deeper intimacy and trust. You will stop waiting for some future moment of arrival and instead start savoring the sacred perfection of what is. You will stop holding your breath in anticipation of the other shoe dropping and instead exhale into the ever-present wholeness that you are. From this unshakable ground, you will meet the great challenges of our day with a strength and clarity that can move mountains. You will become a force of nature, one that no loss, no failure, no worldly circumstance can fundamentally disturb. And though there may be times when acting as if you have nothing to lose feels impossibly hard, in your heart of hearts you will know the truth. That even if you lost it all, every last bit of the temporary dressing of this world, you would remain. The vast awareness that is your true nature would remain. The love that you are would remain. And in that knowing, you are forever free. Free to show up fully, to love boldly, to risk greatly in the short, sweet dance of this life. Free to be silent in the midst of the noise, to act true in the face of the false, to walk through this world with an open and courageous heart. That is the invitation before you. That is the potential. That is your birthright. No matter where you find yourself in this moment, that unshakable freedom is just one choice away. So now for a final contemplation, I invite you to close your eyes. Take a few slow, deep breaths, allowing your body to settle. Feel your feet on the ground, your seat in the chair. Notice any sensations, any feelings present in the body. Now silently ask yourself, if I was acting as if I had nothing to lose, what would I do differently today? What conversation would I have? What risk would I take? What truth would I speak? Don't censor your responses. Allow them to arise freely without judgment. Trust whatever your deepest wisdom is revealing to you. Now ask yourself, what is one small step I can take in that direction? One concrete action that would feel like a stretch but is still within my reach. Again, trust whatever comes. And commit to following through, to taking that brave step in the direction of your deepest knowing. As you step into this practice, remember that you are never alone. That every single person who has ever changed the world started exactly where you are, by getting still, by catching the quiet whisper of truth amidst the noise, and by taking one small, courageous action at a time. As you learn to act as if you have nothing to lose, you will discover a freedom beyond your wildest imagination. You will become a force of nature, an unstoppable agent of change and healing in this world. And you will know beyond a shadow of a doubt that no loss, no worldly defeat, no apparent failure can shake the eternal truth of who you are. That radical freedom is available to you in this breath, in this moment. It's time to get still, to listen deeply, and to leap boldly in the direction of your highest calling. The world is waiting for the fullness of your gift. Step into the fire of transformation. Let it burn away everything that is false and emerge as the fearless, radiant vessel you were born to be. It's time to be silent and act as if you have nothing to lose. Your greatest life is calling. Hey there, have you ever felt like you're constantly being pulled in a million different directions? Like the noise and chaos of the world are drowning out your own thoughts and desires? If so, you're not alone. In today's fast-paced, always-on society, it's easy to get caught up in the whirlwind of external demands and expectations. But what if I told you that the key to finding true happiness, success, and fulfillment lies in doing the opposite? What if I told you that the secret to unlocking your full potential is to be silent and focus on yourself? Now, I know what you might be thinking. Focus on myself. Isn't that selfish? But here's the thing, taking care of yourself, nurturing your own growth and well-being is not selfish at all. In fact, it's the most selfless thing you can do. Because when you're at your best, when you're living in alignment with your true values and purpose, you have so much more to give to the world. So how do you start focusing on yourself? How do you cut through the noise and distractions and tune into your own inner voice? Well, it all starts with silence. You see, silence is a powerful tool. It's a way to create space in your life, to slow down and reflect, to get in touch with your own thoughts and feelings. In a world that's always telling us to do more, be more, and have more, silence is a radical act of self-care. But it's not always easy to find silence, is it? Especially if you're used to being constantly on the go, constantly connected, constantly stimulated. That's why it's so important to create intentional moments of silence in your day. Whether it's taking a few deep breaths before you start your morning routine, going for a quiet walk in nature, or simply sitting in stillness for a few minutes between tasks, these small acts of silence can make a big difference in your overall well-being. And as you start to cultivate more silence in your life, something amazing starts to happen. You start to hear your own voice more clearly. You start to get in touch with your own desires, your own dreams, your own unique path in life. Because here's the thing, we're all born with a specific purpose, a specific set of talents and gifts that we're meant to share with the world. But so often we get distracted by external expectations and pressures. We start to believe that we have to fit into a certain mold, follow a certain path in order to be successful or happy. But the truth is, your path is your own. Your definition of success is yours to create. And the only way to discover what that looks like is to be silent and focus on yourself. Now, I'm not saying it's easy. Focusing on yourself, going against the grain of societal expectations can be scary. It can feel like you're taking a risk, like you're stepping into uncharted territory. But here's what I've learned over the years. The biggest risks in life are the ones we don't take. The biggest regrets are the chances we don't seize, the dreams we don't pursue, the versions of ourselves we don't allow to come to life. So, if you're feeling stuck, if you're feeling like you're not living up to your full potential, I invite you to take a risk. I invite you to be silent and focus on yourself. I invite you to get curious about what makes you come alive, what sets your soul on fire. And as you start to explore those questions, as you start to get in touch with your own inner wisdom, something amazing starts to happen. You start to gain clarity. You start to feel more confident, more empowered, more in control of your own life. Because when you're focused on yourself, when you're tuned into your own needs and desires, you start to make better choices. You start to say no to the things that drain you and yes to the things that inspire you. You start to set boundaries and take care of yourself in a way that allows you to show up more fully in the world. And as you do that, as you start to live more authentically and purposefully, you start to attract the right people and opportunities into your life. You start to build a community of like-minded individuals who support and encourage you, who challenge you to grow and evolve. Because here's the thing, when you're focused on yourself, when you're living in alignment with your true self, you start to radiate a kind of magnetic energy. People are drawn to you, not because of what you do or what you have, but because of who you are. And that, my friend, is the ultimate goal. To be so in touch with yourself, so authentic and genuine, that you inspire others simply by being yourself. to create a life that feels good from the inside out, a life that allows you to make a positive impact on the world simply by showing up as your best self. But it all starts with silence. It all starts with focusing on yourself. It all starts with getting quiet enough to hear your own inner voice and then having the courage to follow where it leads. So if you're ready to take that leap, if you're ready to start living a life that feels truly authentic and fulfilling, I encourage you to start today. Start by creating a few moments of silence in your day, even if it's just a minute or two. Start by getting curious about what lights you up, what makes you feel alive. And then start taking small steps in the direction of your dreams. Start saying yes to the things that align with your values and no to the things that don't. Start surrounding yourself with people who lift you up and inspire you to be your best self. It won't always be easy. There will be challenges and obstacles along the way. But when you're focused on yourself, when you're tuned into your own inner wisdom, you have the resilience and the strength to overcome anything. Because at the end of the day, the most important relationship you have is the one with yourself. The most important investment you can make is in your own growth and well-being. And the most important legacy you can leave is one of authenticity, purpose, and joy. So be silent, my friend. Focus on yourself. Trust in the journey and know that you have everything you need within you to create a life beyond your wildest dreams. It's not about being perfect, it's about being true to yourself. It's not about having it all figured out, it's about being willing to learn and grow. It's not about reaching some external destination, it's about falling in love with the person you're becoming along the way. And as you do that, as you start to live more authentically and purposefully, you start to create a ripple effect. You start to inspire others to do the same, to be silent and focus on themselves, to discover their own unique path and purpose. Because that's what the world needs more of, people who are willing to be true to themselves, people who are willing to stand in their own power and light, people who are willing to stand in their own power and light, people who are willing to lead by example and show others what's possible. So be one of those people. Be a beacon of hope and inspiration in a world that so desperately needs it. Be silent, focus on yourself, and trust that by doing so, you're not only changing your own life, but the lives of countless others. And remember, this is a journey, not a destination. There will be ups and downs, twists and turns, moments of clarity and moments of confusion. But through it all, keep coming back to yourself. Keep getting quiet, keep tuning in, keep trusting in the wisdom and guidance that lies within. Because when you do that, when you make yourself the priority, everything else starts to fall into place. Relationships improve, opportunities arise, and life starts to feel more like a beautiful adventure than a constant struggle. So be brave, be bold, and be silent. Focus on yourself and watch as your world starts to transform in ways you never thought possible. This is your invitation, your call to adventure. This is your chance to step into the fullest, most authentic version of yourself. This is your opportunity to create a life that feels good, a life that matters, a life that matters, a life that leaves a lasting impact on the world. So take a deep breath, close your eyes, and get quiet. Listen to the voice within. The voice that knows your true path and purpose. And then take one small step in the direction of your dreams. Because that's all it takes, one small step, one moment of silence, one decision to focus on yourself. And from there, anything is possible. So go out there and make it happen. Be silent, focus on yourself, and trust in the incredible journey that lies ahead. Your best life is waiting for you, and it all starts with a single moment of stillness and self-reflection. Embrace the silence, embrace yourself, and embrace the beautiful, messy, wonderful adventure of life. You've got this, and I can't wait to see where your journey takes you. Remember, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. And the journey of creating a life that truly feels like your own begins with a single moment of silence, a single choice to focus on yourself. It's not always easy to prioritize yourself, especially in a world that's constantly demanding your time and attention. But when you make the conscious decision to be silent and focus on yourself, you start to reclaim your power. You start to take back control of your life, your choices, and your happiness. And as you do that, as you start to make yourself a priority, something incredible starts to happen. You start to feel more energized, more inspired, more alive. You start to tap into a deep well of creativity and intuition that you never even knew existed. Because when you're focused on yourself, when you're tuned into your own needs and desires, you start to see the world through a different lens. You start to notice opportunities and possibilities that you might have missed before. You start to approach challenges and obstacles with a sense of curiosity and resilience, knowing that every setback is simply a chance to learn and grow. And as you continue on this path of self-discovery and self-focus, you start to build a deeper sense of trust in yourself. You start to believe in your own abilities, your own wisdom, your own unique gifts and talents. This is the power of being silent and focusing on yourself. It's not about being selfish or self-centered. It's about being self-aware and self-honoring. It's about recognizing that you have a responsibility to yourself, to your own growth and well-being, and that by fulfilling that responsibility, you're better able to show up for others in a meaningful way. Because when you're taking care of yourself, when you're filling your own cup, you have so much more to give to the world around you. You have more energy, more patience, more compassion, more love. You're able to be a better partner, a better friend, a better leader, a better human being. But it all starts with being silent and focusing on yourself. It all starts with taking that first step, with making that first choice to prioritize your own needs and desires. And I know it can be scary. I know it can feel like you're going against the grain, like you're breaking some unwritten rule that says you're supposed to put everyone else first. But here's the thing: that rule is a lie. That rule is a recipe for burnout, resentment, and unhappiness. The truth is, when you put yourself first, when you make your own well-being a priority, everyone benefits, your relationships improve, your work becomes more meaningful, and your life takes on a new sense of purpose and joy. So if you're feeling stuck, if you're feeling like you've lost touch with yourself amidst the noise and chaos of the world, I invite you to take a moment of silence. I invite you to close your eyes, take a deep breath, and ask yourself, what do I need right now? What would make me feel more alive, more aligned, more authentic? And then take one small step in the direction of that answer. It doesn't have to be a grand gesture. It doesn't have to be a major life overhaul. It can be something as simple as saying no to a social invitation that doesn't feel right, or saying yes to a new hobby or passion that lights you up. The key is to start somewhere, to start prioritizing yourself in small, consistent ways. Because as you do that, as you build that muscle of self-focus and self-care, you start to create a momentum that carries you forward. You start to gain clarity and confidence, and you start to attract more of what you want into your life. And yes, there will be challenges along the way. There will be moments of doubt and fear, moments when you question whether you're on the right path. But that's where the power of silence comes in. That's where the power of focusing on yourself becomes so invaluable. Because when you're connected to yourself, when you're tuned into your own inner wisdom, you have a built-in guidance system. You have a way of navigating the ups and downs of life with grace and resilience, knowing that every challenge is an opportunity for growth and transformation. So trust in that guidance system, trust in yourself. Keep coming back to that place of silence and self-reflection. Keep making choices that align with your deepest values and desires. And as you do that, as you continue on this path of self-discovery and self-focus, know that you're not alone. Know that there's a whole community of people out there who are on the same journey, who are cheering you on and supporting you every step of the way.